Okay, welcome to Bhakti Steps. We'll start with the prayers which are on my screen. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shiyukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Savarajatam Sahagana Raghunatamitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतम सावधूतम परिजन सहितम कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानु देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भयवच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome to Bhakti Steps. We are in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita and 5 verses to go. 15.14 we did. Okay, so yesterday we discussed that Krishna is saying that he is the Mata, Dhata, Pitamaha, everything comes from him. Okay, the spiritual abode of him is not illuminated by anything, it is self-effulgent, everything is present. See, one example is enough. If it is self-effulgent, then everything else, all the needs are already there, right? Then the splendor of sun, the moon comes from Krishna. He's the fire of digestion. He's the juice of all the vegetables. He joins the air of life in going outgoing to digest the 4 foodstuffs. Okay. So basically he's telling everything is dependent on him. And yesterday we discussed that if we are dependent on someone, then we have to be grateful to that person. We have to be kritatnya to that person. Therefore, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in the 12th, he says, you should pay obeisances to me. Mam namaskuru. We touch the feet of father, mother. Why? Because we are grateful to them. We are giving them, offering them respects. They are elders to us. And again, we are grateful also. They took care of us right from our baby. Right? Now, Krishna is telling, I take care of you, everything. Digestion, planets, everything comes from me. How many times we eat? Minimum 3 times a day. If Krishna decides 1 time a day he's not going to help, enough. We have to go to hospital to fix our stomach. Digestion issue. Gastroenterologist, whatever. You have to meet that person. Isn't it? So it is such a crucial play, Krishna takes. And Krishna in the 10th chapter, he gives even more information. We read, we didn't discuss here, but I'll just show you. In the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he gives a full list of how he is, spread, of how everything he is. That wherever he is, how he is in all everything. Of all the demigods, he is Indra. He is giving the ability for Indra to be the king. The Rudras Shiva, Vasu Yagya, Agni, generals Kartike, of the sages Vyasa, priest Brahaspati, kings human, Pandavas, he is Dhananjay, that is Arjuna. He is the best of all. Of the horses, the best horse is Ucheshwara. Of the best elephant, he is Airavata. Of the best cow, it is Surbi. This cow Surbi just doesn't give milk. It will give anything that you want. If you want gold also, it will give gold, silver. If you want army, it will give army. This is such a Surbi cow. That is Krishna. And then he tells, among the wise, his wisdom. Splendid his splendor. Among the women, his fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, patience. is the strength of the strong. Those are all strong, right? Strong people. Where are they getting all the strength? Krishna is giving them all the strength. So like this, he gives all the big list over there. And he says, this is just fraction of what I told. So learning all these things help us to be kritagnya, to be grateful to Krishna. Do you agree? Do you think these are enough reasons for me to be grateful? To kritagnya to the Supreme Lord and to pay obeisances to Him. Are these reasons enough? Yes? Any comment?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay. Now Krishna is going to tell even more detail. That's what we will read in the 15th verse. We'll start with that. 15th verse is a very nice verse. So we'll chant the Sanskrit also. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदय सन्निविष्टो मतः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृत् वेदविदेव चाहम् सर्वस्य in all beings chaham sa aham is me sa aham I hridaya heart sannivishto I sit. So in everyone heart, who is sitting? Krishna is sitting. What is he doing there? What is Krishna doing there, sitting there? Mataha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Mataha, from me. Smritir, smriti. Smriti means what? This is a nice word, smriti. Sometimes, girls are given the name smriti. Smriti means remembrance. Jnanam here is knowledge. To do anything in life, we have to have some knowledge. Apohanam, sir. Apohanam. This is means it means forgetfulness. So what is he doing when he sits in our hearts? He gives us remembrance. Then he gives us knowledge. Then he gives us forgetfulness also. Interesting, right? If we have to forget anything, then Krishna only makes us forget. If we have to remember something, he will make us remember. If we want knowledge of how to do things, then he will inspire within our heart and he will tell. Vedesh sarver aham eva vedo. Vedesh. Sarver, from all the Vedas, aham eva vaidyo. I am to be known. I am to be known. From the Vedas, who is to be known? Krishna is to be known. Vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Vedanta is the last book of the Vedas. I'll just show you the tree diagram of the whole Vedas. This is the whole big tree diagram of the Vedas. There are two parts, Shruti, Smriti. Shruti is what Krishna gave in the heart of Brahma, and Smriti is they heard from Brahma, and the sages they composed extended books on Vedas, like the Pancharatras, Puranas, Itihasas, six Darshanas. Okay, Shruti has the Vedangas, the four Vedas, Samhitas, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishads. Okay, now in this Smriti, there are these six darshana. This is the philosophy. Six philosophies are there. Sankhya, Yoga, Patanjali Yoga. You have heard this Patanjali Yoga, Sankhya philosophy. These are very famous. Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Mimamsa, and then last was Vedanta. This is the last Vedanta. So who wrote this? Vedanta Krit Vedevacham. He said, I compiled the Vedanta. I am the knower of the Vedas. Interesting, right? So Krishna is giving even more information about himself. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. Now, my question to you is, why Krishna has to give us forgetfulness? What is the reason of his giving us forgetfulness? Why do you think he has to give forgetfulness to us?
To forget the pain from previous life.
Yes, that is one of the reasons. Yes. If we remember right, then we'll go mad. Those who are in reincarnation cases, na, they feel very disturbed, very disturbed when they remember their past life. Okay. So forgetfulness is required. Now, when a woman has children, she has the first child. It is very painful. 9 months and then baby and then sleepless nights, isn't it? I have Matajis in this group, isn't it? The childbirth was very difficult. Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. But let's say after 1 year, 2 years, the woman thinks I want one more child. Right? She thinks like that. Anyway, so that forgetfulness Krishna is giving. Okay. And like this, there are many things. There are many forgetfulness. Okay. Okay. Why does Krishna has to give us knowledge? This is a very simple answer. Why does he has to give us knowledge?
So that we can get a chance to know that who we are actually and why we are in this material world.
Yeah, that is fine. That is spiritual knowledge. I agree. But even from the materialistic perspective, right? There was this great scientist whose name was Srinivasan Ramanuja. Okay, and he gave a quote. His quotes are there, and he was saying that all the mathematics that is there in whatever comes into my mind, na, some Devi is giving me. He says like that. Um, let's see. See, he said that goddess Namagiri revealed his mathematical findings in his dream. There's a very nice quote he says. So he was a very famous mathematician. So he was saying that in the sleep I see all the equations, and when I get up I write it. Interesting, right? So point is, we need knowledge, and Krishna gives us that knowledge. Okay. Now, why we need remembrance? Why we need remembrance? That Krishna has to remember us. Hey, remember, you wanted to do this, you wanted to do that. Hmm? Tell me why we need remembrance. We can just start afresh, right? When we take birth, we can just start afresh. Why remember? Why Krishna has to make us remember certain things?
Then Prabhuji, it will be very difficult for us to uh, getting identify who we are and where is my home and all that thing. Like if we don't remember anything.
See, uh, hmm. See, we are taking new bodies, right? At the time of death, we have some desires. So when we take new bodies according to our pious and karma and all that, Krishna has to make us remember. See, previous lifetime you wanted to do this, you wanted to do that. So he gives us that remembrance. And of course, within a lifetime also, we want to do something. So we pray to God that make us remember, make me remember all my answers in the questions and all that. So major remembrance is from the past life what desires I had. That is all embedded in my subtle body, and Krishna makes us remember that. See, you wanted to become this, you wanted to become that. So in this regard, there is a very nice quote from Henry Ford. He started the Ford company almost 100 years back. He started a Ford company, and he gave a very nice analogy. He says, um, um, his course was from the past life. Hmm. Maybe I should stop. So he said that he said that a fruit of a long experience is many lives. Meaning, he was so expert mechanic and a person who would develop, cars, Ford cars. And then they asked him, "What is your secret?" Then he said, "It is not just this lifetime that I am able to do this. I think it is a conclusion of many, many lifetimes." So he says this: "I adopted the theory of reincarnation when I was 26. Genius is experience. It is experience," he says. "Something to be seen, it is a gift or a talent, but it is actually a fruit of long experience in many lives. So, for many lives, I have worked on this idea, and in this life, I could finally do it." This is what Henry Ford was believing. This is what, even great scientists, they also say that. I was searching for that answer, and then I remembered, right? Somebody in between in my heart told me, "You need to run for this, you need to go after this idea." So that remembrance comes from Krishna. That is why we need. Because so many desires are sitting in our heart. And Krishna is giving us new bodies to help us fulfill our desires. So that's why he's giving us remembrance. That's why he's giving us knowledge. And that's why he's giving us forgetfulness. So that we can be focused on those desires. Right? You understand this point?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Now, somebody says, "Okay, fine, so many desires I'm having. And I'm every lifetime I'm just trying to fulfill these desires." But it is a never ending process. It's a never ending process. When one comes to that point that this is a never ending process, he turns towards philosophy, he turns towards jnana, and then he starts introspecting, he starts thinking, what is there in this world? Is there something beyond this running after material results? And that's where he becomes interested in spirituality. When he comes to spirituality, at that point also Krishna gives him remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness. He gives him the remembrance of these desires that he had for spiritual life. He gives him the knowledge of spiritual life, that is his Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And then forgetfulness. So even in spiritual life, we get this remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness. But this comes when the soul desires. If the soul doesn't desire, then Krishna doesn't give. Okay? Okay? Any question?
Yes, Prabhuji, you are telling right because in my case also, like I just wanted to know that, like who is Vishnu, like because in our home with Lakshmi Puja we also worship Narayan. So just from that only, I just while I was think that gradually I remembering that yes, I have to go this way and I get this one like that. Yes, Prabhuji, you are right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Can now someone read the purport? Someone volunteer to read the purport?
Can I, Prabhuji?
Go ahead.
Yeah. The Supreme Lord is situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and it is from Him that all activities are initiated. The living entity forgets everything of his past life, but he has to act according to the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is witness to all his work. Therefore, he begins his work according to his past deeds. Required knowledge is supplied to him, and remembrance is given to him. And he forgets also about his past life. Thus, the Lord is not only all pervading, he is also localized in every individual heart. He awards the different fruitive results. He is worshipable not only as the impersonal Brahman, the supreme personality of Godhead, and the localized Paramatma, but as the form of the incarnation of the Vedas as well. The Vedas give the right direction to people so that they can properly mold their lives and come back to Godhead, back to home. The Vedas offer knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and Krishna in his incarnation as Vyasadeva is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. The commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Vyasadeva in the Srimad Bhagavatam gives the real understanding of Vedanta Sutra. The Supreme Lord is so full that for the deliverance of the conditioned soul, he is the supplier and digester of foodstuff, the witness of his activity, and the giver of knowledge in the form of Vedas, and as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita. He is worshipable by the conditioned soul. Thus, God is all good. God is all merciful. Can I read the next paragraph?
Yeah, go ahead.
Anta Antapravistha Sasta Jananam, the living entity forgets as soon as he quits his present body, but he begins his work again, initiated by the Supreme Lord. Although he forgets, the Lord gives him the intelligence to renew his work where he ended his last life. So, not only does a living entity enjoy or suffer in this world according to the dictation from the Supreme Lord situated locally in the heart, but he receives the opportunity to understand the Vedas from him. If one is serious about understanding the Vedic knowledge, then Krishna gives the required intelligence. Why does he present the Vedic knowledge for understanding? Because a living entity individually needs to understand Krishna. Vedic literature confirms this. So, confirm this. Yo sau sarve veder giyate. In all Vedic literature, beginning from the four Vedas, Vedanta Sutra, and the Upanishads and Puranas, the glories of the Supreme Lord are celebrated. By performance of Vedic rituals, discussion of the Vedic philosophy, and worship of the Lord in devotional service, he is attained. Therefore, the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. The Vedas give us direction by which to understand Krishna and the process of realizing Him. The ultimate goal is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedanta Sutra 1.1.4 confirms this in the following words: Tat tu samatvayat. One can attain perfection in three stages. By understanding Vedic literature, one can understand his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By performing the different processes, one can approach him, and at the end, one can attain the supreme goal, who is no other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this verse, the purpose of the Vedas, the understanding of the Vedas, and the goal of the Vedas are clearly defined.
Okay. So in the whole of the Vedas, the glories of the Supreme Lord is mentioned. Now, it is mentioned, but one needs a guru to uh, pull out that message from it. Okay. It's like in the milk, the ghee is there. In the milk, the butter is there. But do you see it? Do you see it?
No problem.
Then what we have to do? We have to churn it. And when we churn it, that butter comes out. Isn't it? Similarly, we need the
Yes.
guru who will tell us this purpose, who will explain how Krishna is glorified everywhere in the Vedas. Hmm? By understanding Vedic literature from a guru, one can understand his relationship with the Supreme Lord. This is Sambandha Gyan. What is our relationship with Krishna? Can you tell?
We are the part and parcel of the Supreme.
Yes. We are part and parcel. Anything more? We are not just part and parcel. We are something more also. Jeevera Swarup hai Krishnara Nitya Das. We are his loving servants. Sambandha Gyan Abhideya. There are three things that is Prabhupada is talking about here. And then by performing the different processes, one can approach him. This is called Abhideya. Basically process of bhakti. So here we perform. Now when we know we are his part and parcel, we don't know what to do next. But when we know we are his loving servants, then we want to do something for Krishna. So that is the process of bhakti. When we do something for Krishna, we will get a goal. And here the goal is prema. Prema is love, ultimate love. So here we will attain the supreme goal, which is no other than the Supreme Lord. Here the love for Krishna is ultimately to attain Krishna. So this whole thing is there. In this world, the purpose of Vedas is there, the understanding of the Vedas, the goal of Vedas are clearly defined. Okay. Now, go to the next source. There are two classes of being: the fallible, infallible. In material world, every living entity is fallible. In the spiritual world, every living entity is infallible. Fallible means what? Fallible means one who will fall down. Fall down from his position. Wherever he is, he will fall down. Now, this is land. If I stand here, will I fall down? If I stand on land,
No.
will I fall down?
No, Prabhuji.
No. Okay. Standing on. They didn't understand. Fence wall. Are we getting a picture? Okay. Okay. So here a person is standing on this fence, wood fence. Will he fall down? Will he fall down?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe this is better. So the point is, this fall down concept is like this: that if we are standing on the fence, we are definitely going to fall down. Either we will fall down in the front or we may fall down in the back, right? One of the two will happen. But we won't be able to remain on that fence, wall fence, right? We won't be able to remain. There is a high chance we will just fall down. So, just hold on. C103. C103. Okay, sorry. So what I was saying is, yeah. So if one is on the fence wall, he's definitely going to fall, either this side or that side. This is called as tatastha. Tatastha. The word, technical word is used is tatastha. So Krishna has many parts and parcels. And we are jivas. We are tathastha. Tathastha Shakti. We are also a Shakti. We have power. As a spirit soul, we have power. Okay. But it is tathastha. Tathastha means It is on the edge. So either we will fall down here or we will fall down there. So there are two other Shaktis that Krishna has. So he has basically three Shaktis, three energies. One is the Jivas, second one is material energy, that is nothing but Durga, or you can say Mahamaya, and spiritual energy, that is Lakshmi or Radharani or Yogamaya. So now the Jivas can either fall into this Shakti or this Shakti, right? That's the thing. Tatastha means it won't stay on the fence. It will fall here or there. Now you tell me, where are we fallen right now? In which Shakti are we fallen down? Mahamaya or Yogamaya? Which one?
Mahamaya.
Mahamaya. Yes. So that is the condition of fallible. This is called fallible state. And when somebody who has taken Shakti of Yogamaya, Lakshmi, Radharani, Rukmini, Sita, they are infallible. Now you understand how come Jiva becomes fallible and how come Jiva becomes infallible. In the spiritual world, everyone is infallible. In the material world, everyone is fallible, including all of us. Got it? You understand this point?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, can someone read this section? Can someone read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can I
Go
read?
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
As already explained, the Lord in his incarnation as Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta Sutra. Here the Lord is giving in summary the contents of the Vedanta Sutra. He says that the living entities who are innumerable can be divided into two classes, the fallible and infallible. The living entities are eternally separated parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When they are in contact with the material world, they are called Jiva Bhuta. And the Sanskrit words given here, Sharvani Bhutani, mean that they are fallible. Those who are in oneness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, are called infallible. Oneness does not mean that they have no individuality, but that there is no disunity. They are all agreeable to the purpose of the creation. The living entities who are struggling in the world with the mind and five senses have their material bodies, which are changing. As long as a living entity is conditioned, his body changes due to contact with matter. Matter is changing, so the living entity appears to be changing.
Go ahead.
But in the spiritual world, the body is not made of matter. Therefore, therefore, there is no change. In the material world, the living entity undergoes six changes: birth, growth, duration, reproduction, then dwelling, and vanishing. These are the changes of the material body. But in the spiritual world, the body does not change. There is no old age, there is no birth, there is no death. They all exist in oneness. Shara Sharvani Bhutani. Any living entity who has come in contact with matter, beginning from the first created being, Brahma, down to a small ant, is changing its body. Therefore, they are they are all fallible. In the spiritual world, however, they are all always liberated in oneness.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So in this material world, we keep getting bodies to enjoy and all that, and then through this body, we are taking birth, growth, duration, reproduction, then dwindling and vanishing, and then going into next body. This is how we are all fallible. from Brahma to small ant. But in the spiritual world, once you get a body, spiritual body, there is no change. It remains for eternity. There is no change. That body is there with you. It is Satchidananda Vigraha. It is not even earth, water, fire, air, ether. It is not made of Panchabhuta. It is not flesh. It is not blood. It is a spiritual body which cannot be destroyed, which has no pain in it. It doesn't go to the six changes. So there in the spiritual world, it is bodies like. Besides these two, there is a greatest living personality, the supreme soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. So now we are talking about supreme soul, that is Krishna only, but he's saying that beyond these two, beyond these two, beyond this fallible, infallible, there is greatest living personality, the supreme soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining. So here, the supreme Lord, Krishna, can you tell me, is he fallible or is he infallible? Which category does it fit in? Fallible or infallible? Can you tell which category does it fit? Fallible, infallible?
Infallible.
Besides these two, there are greatest living personality. So he's neither fallible, he's neither infallible. These definitions don't apply. That is what it means. This fallible, infallible is only for the Jivatmas. But for Krishna, we can't even apply that definition. In a class, there is teacher and students. 30 students pass, 30 students fail. Okay? 30 students pass, 30 students fail. Did the teacher pass or fail? Did the teacher pass or fail?
Neither of them.
Yeah. So that's what here it is. Krishna is neither of it. This cannot be applied only. Even though your answer is right, he's infallible. But, this thing cannot even apply to him. Then this fallible question doesn't even come, we cannot even touch him. It's like that. Okay. Can someone read the purport? The idea of this verse. Someone please read.
The idea of this verse is very nicely expressed in the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13 and
Shvetashwara.
Shvetasvatara Prabhu
Shvetashwara.
Sveteshwara.
Mhm.
Shvetashwara Upanishad 6.13. It is clearly stated there that above the innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there is the Supreme Personality who is Paramatma. The Upanishadic verse runs as follows: Nityo Nityanam
Chetananam.
Chetananam. The the purport is that amongst all the living entities, both conditioned and liberated, there is one supreme living personality, the supreme personality of Godhead, who maintains them and gives us them all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. That supreme personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma, a wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace, not others.
Okay. So Krishna is beyond this because he is fully liberated and he's also maintaining them and giving them all facility, directing them. He's controlling all of it. The material energy, spiritual energy, everything. So you see, it is beyond. You cannot see that say Krishna is pass or fail. You just cannot apply. Okay. Now, Krishna said, there is a super soul. Now he says, I am that super soul. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, because I am the greatest. I am celebrated both in this world and the Vedas as that supreme person. We'll just read this verse 18 now. Yasmacharam atitoham aksharadapi chottamaha atosmi loka vedecha pratitaha purushottam. I am celebrated pratitaha as purusha uttama, purushottama. So Krishna is saying, I am that purushottama, and that's why the name of this chapter is also Purushottam Yoga, the yoga of the supreme. The yoga of the supreme. The name of the chapter comes from this verse, Purushottama. So it's called Purushottam Yoga. So Krishna says, I am that Purushottam. Okay, can someone read the purport?
Yes, Prabhuji. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quality the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think of Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the questions of superiority and inferiority between their personalities. The word Uttamam is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Wait,
The word
wait. So it is said Krishna doesn't have anybody who is equal to him. There is no one who is equal to him in all respects. No living entity is equal to him. He is Uttama. He is the foremost. He is the best of the best of the best of the best, like that. No one can surpass the Supreme Lord. Purushottama. Okay. The word Loke signifies in this Paurusha Agama Smriti scriptures as confirmed in Nirukta dictionary. The purpose of the Vedas is to explain by the Smriti scriptures. The Supreme Lord in his localized aspect of Paramatma is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad 8, 12, 13, 3, which means the super soul coming out of the body enters into the impersonal Brahmajyotir. And then in his form, he remains in his spiritual identity. That Supreme is called the Supreme Personality of God. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect of Paramatma by incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parashara. He explains the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. This is some more information about it, but we'll go further. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, now Krishna says, whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality without doubting, no doubt, is the knower of everything. He knows everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service of son of Bharata. So one who knows this about Krishna, that Krishna is that supreme person, the Purushottama, then he does bhajana of Krishna. He does bhakti yoga of Krishna. Yo mam evam asam mudo janati purushottamam. Janati, agar wo jaan gaya, the word jaan gaya comes from this janati. Purusha uttama. If he understands I am mama purushottama, I am that purushottama, sa sarvavid bhajate ma. He starts doing bhajan of me. Finally I got that who is the supreme. Now I got it. इसके बाद कुछ नहीं. There's nothing after this. I got that original source. Now I will do bhajan of this personality. Sarva bhavena bharata. Sarva bhava, meaning all the emotions now that I have, I will invest everything in Krishna. Bharata, Arjuna. It's a very nice verse. We have some long purports here, but fine. Okay, can someone read this section? There are many philosophical speculations.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, go ahead.
There are many and the supreme absolute truth. Now, in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the uh, absolute truth. But the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Throughout the whole of Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step. And still, there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the supreme absolute truth and the living entities to be the one and the same. Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. Here, Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from the source. Simply to hear like the hawks is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this, according to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the supreme absolute truth. He has already come to the point because he is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all preliminary process of understanding. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that one has to surrender there. All his speculation for so many years and lives is a useless waste of time. Hare Krishna.
Last, this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. That what is it? I am the supreme, and someone who knows this does bhajati to me. Bhajan or bhakti yoga to me. This is the most confidential part. Oh sinless one, and it is now disclosed now by me. I have told you in truth now. This is open secret now. Bhagavad Gita is open secret. What it means by open secret? Whoever understands this will become wise and his endeavors will know perfection. What is open secret? What is open secret according to you? There is one thing, secret, and then there is open secret. Yes?
Prabhuji, it's mean uh, it's no it is known by everyone, but only few can understand this and
Yeah.
accept this.
Yeah. It is known in theory, but in practice, it is not understood. And even in theory, people are doubting it. Right? सबको मालूम है राम नाम सत्य है. But who has that interest in Ram Naam? Right? So it's like that. So open secret. The Lord clearly explains here that this is a substance of all revealed scriptures, and one should understand this as it is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This one becomes intelligent, perfect, and transcendent knowledge. In other words, by understanding the philosophy of Supreme of Sri Krishna and engaging in his transcendental service, Bhakti Yoga. Everyone can become freed from all contamination of modes of material nature. So in 14.26 we read right? Mamchoya vibcharena bhakti yogena sevate. If you do bhakti, then three modes won't touch you. Devotional service is a process of spiritual understanding. Wherever devotional service exists, the material contamination cannot coexist. Jaya Ja hoy Krishna Radhikar. There Maya has no adhikar. Taha nahi Maya Radhikar. Krishna Surya Saman, Maya hai Andhakar. Krishna is like sun and Maya is darkness. The moment sun comes in the morning, does the darkness remain anywhere on the land? When you get up 4 o'clock in the morning, it is still dark. But the moment the sun rises, 6 o'clock, 6:30, is there dark anywhere? No. Similarly, when devotional service comes in a devotee's life, all the darkness goes away. No, there is no need of any special endeavor. It will just go away automatically because Krishna himself comes. Devotional service to the Lord and the Lord himself are one and the same. Doing bhakti to Krishna and Krishna himself is the same. We will talk about this point. Because they are spiritual. Devotional service takes place within the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is said to be the sun, and the ignorance is called darkness. Where the sun is there, no question of darkness. So where devotional service is there, under proper guidance of Guru, there is no question of ignorance. Everyone must take this Krishna consciousness of Krishna, engage in devotional service, become intelligent, purified, become spiritually intelligent, become spiritually purified, no material anarthas. Then one can go back to Godhead. The word anaga, by which Arjuna is explained, anaga. Anaga means oh sinless one. Anaga, you have heard this word anaga? Sometimes some boy's name anaga. Even sometimes some girl's name may be anaga. Anaga means sinless, one who has not done any sin. Arjuna is like that. Means that unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it's very difficult to understand Krishna. One has to become free from all contaminations, all sinful activities. Then he can understand. But devotion service is so pure. Now somebody will say, I'm so sin. I've done so many sin. How can I approach Krishna? Because Krishna has used the word anaga. So he's indicating that one needs to be sinless. But the process of bhakti is such that even if one is sinful, they will quickly pick him up and make him sinless. That is the process of bhakti. Bhakti is like fire. However, one may have put things in freezer. Let's say he has put some sabji in the freezer. Now one has to eat it. What will you do? You will put it on the fire and just wait for 1-2 minutes. Then what will happen? The sabji will become hot and it is now served. And one may think, Arey, this sabji is so hot. Is it made now? Isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So devotional service is like that. That one will be, confused. Was he sinful or was he never sin? It will be like that for a devotee. And I'll tell you one example. Let me finish this. While one is performing devotional service in the association of pure devotees, there are certain things which are required to vanish be altogether. The most important is to surmount the weakness of heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over the material nature. So now what are the obstacles in this bhakti yoga? Okay, the process is very strong, but there are some obstacles. First is we want to still enjoy in this world. We want to still control in this world. Even when we become devotees, not this desire is there. We want to control. So one has to give up. Thus one gives up transcendental loving service. So sometimes some control is taken away that devotee says, no, I don't want to do bhakti now. Sometimes something happens. The second weakness of heart is that one increases the propensity to lord it over the material nature and he becomes attached to them. Second weakness is this propensity to lord it over, enjoy, and he becomes attached to it. I want to keep enjoying. Because of that, there is weakness of heart and he cannot take to Krishna consciousness fully. In this chapter, the first 5 verses describe the process of freeing one from this weakness of heart. You have to cut down, and rest of the chapter from 6 through the end is discusses Purushottam Yoga. Okay. So, who wrote Ramayana? Who wrote Ramayana? Can you tell me the name of the Rishi Muni who wrote Ramayana?
Valmiki?
Valmiki Rishi. Was Valmiki Rishi a Valmiki Rishi from the start? Hmm? Do you know the history?
No, Prabhuji. I think he was a weird. I mean, like, he's do so many sinful things.
Yeah, so his name was
After that,
Ratnakar. His name was Ratnakar and he was a dacoit and he would kill people. One day he met Narad Muni and they started discussing. Then Narad Muni explained in the process of karma. You have killed so many people, now you have to be facing so many lifetimes of pain. People will kill you in your next life. And he got afraid. And he said, no, I don't want this. So now what I should do? I'm ready to, get rid of all my sin. So he said, you should chant the name of Rama. So Ratnakar, he said, Mara. Narumi said, no, 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 Rama. He said, Mara. Then Narumuni understood. He has killed so many people that he cannot even say Ram. He was so sinful. He cannot even say Ram. So he said, okay, you start with Mara. So then he started chanting Mara, 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 and then that became Ram. And after some time, he could give up all the bad habits that he had, and he became this great sage called Valmiki. He became such a great sage that when Ram had to decide where should I give Sita, he had to give up Sita because somebody in his kingdom was telling that how can he keep a wife who has gone to another's house. So Ram said that's a defect in my life and a king should be free of all defects. So he decided I'll give up Sita. But he didn't abandon Sita like this, chalo raste pe chhod diya. No. He sent Sita to whom? To Valmiki Rishi's ashram. So can you imagine how much faith Ram had on Valmiki Rishi? Sita went to Ravana and Ram, not Sita went to Ravana. Ravana captured Sita. Ravana kidnapped Sita and Ram had to kill Ravana. And this situation was now that he had to give Sita away. So can you imagine? He has fought a war to get Sita back. Now he is forced to give up Sita again, willingly. So he thought, I will give it to the best person where she can be protected. And that best person was ex Ratnakar. His name was Valmiki Rishi. In his ashram, Sita gave birth to two boys, Love and Kush. And Valmiki Rishi taught Love and Kush Ramayana. So that's the power of the holy name, that when it is chanted, all the sins are destroyed. So what is there in this word? Rama, Krishna, Hari. What is there? We always say these are what? Rama, Krishna, Hari. These are what? Spiritual words, right? Holy names. We say that, huh? Isn't it? Do we say that? These are the holy names. Shuddhanam. Do we say that or not? Yes or no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So, if we say there are spiritual names, then there has to be some material words also. Okay? So, if there are spiritual words and then there are material words. Okay? What is the difference between a material word and a spiritual word? Let's say I am thirsty. If I am thirsty, what I should do? I should drink. If I am thirsty, what I should do?
Water.
You should drink water. Now, if I chant water, 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 how many times should I chant water, water, water? 100 times, 1000 times. Will that quench my thirst? Will this quench my thirst? Yes or no?
No, Prabhuji.
Why? Because the object water and the thing water are two different things. You see, you need the actual thing water to quench your thirst, because the object water, and the name water, and the name water are two different things. We need the object, we need that particular thing to thirst, to quench our thirst. This is the nature of the material words. Material words, their object and the name are two different things. You understand? The object is separate from name. Now, in the spiritual words, the object is not separate. It is the word and the object both. It is the word and the object both. Meaning, what are the spiritual words? Rama, Krishna, Hari. The word Rama or Krishna, when we chant, then Krishna is on our tongue, Krishna is in our ears, Krishna is in our heart. You're getting? So the object and the thing, the name, are non-different things in spiritual words. So this is the holy name. So if somebody decides, I will chant Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, it is not a holy name, so it won't work. I'll say water, 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 it won't work. But if they say Rama, it will work. Why? Because it is a spiritual name, it is a holy name. So we learned two things. One is that the holy name is non-different than Krishna. The holy name is non-different than Krishna, and the process of bhakti can make a sinful person into a sinless person. Example we took of Valmiki. Okay. So with that we end the 15th chapter. Any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, that is Valmiki got some who is God and what should he do, what he should do from Narada Muni. So he get a great sage. But what about us? We are taking the name of Krishna, but it's not that we get a very great sage or something. Uh, yes,
Even
Prabhupada
if we
gave.
get a great sage, see, Narad Muni talked with Ravana also. He talked with Hiranyakashipu. He talked with uh, what is his name? Kamsa. He talked with
Okay.
them also, right?
Oh,
So, see, a teacher has how many students in a class? 30, 40 students, right? That same teacher teaches mathematics to everyone. How come that, how come that some fail? You tell me why? Why some fail and why some pass? The teacher is same.
because some students take it seriously and some students don't.
Whoever gives attentive listening to the teacher and follows the instruction of the teacher to go home and practice, when they practice, then only they will be successful. So Krishna talks about this practice in the 8th chapter, I think. 8th chapter or 6th chapter? 6th chapter. In the 6th chapter, he talks about this practice. Arjuna hears the process of yoga and he says, I think it is impractical, undurable. The mind is restless and unsteady. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate. Krishna, it is more difficult than controlling the wind. I can control the wind, but not the mind. What is Krishna's answer? Asanchayam. Yes, you are true. Mr. Arjuna, you are true. Mahabhav. Mahabhav. One who has strong hands. Mr. Arjuna, you are true. Asamchaya. Mano durnigraham chalam. Mind is difficult. Abhyasena tu konteya vairagyena च क्रियते. But it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind. Yes, you are true. But it is possible by suitable practice and detachment. Isn't it? So, one who does practice for a long time. So, what are the practice? The 9 processes we have to practice: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. All these things we have to practice. We have to hear for a long time. We have to practice the steps of Bhakti Yoga under the direction of a guru. And it may take 1 lifetime, 2 lifetime, 3 lifetime. It may take. But finally, we will be able to overcome it. Krishna is giving that promise. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
So, sincerely practice. There will be some weakness of heart, there may be some setbacks and all that, but be sincere. If one is sincere, Krishna will pick up and put him back on the line. Okay?
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay. Any last question or comment? Okay. So, no questions.